Hi everyone, this is Melissa the Stamp Doc. Today I am going to share with you some different uses for the Layering Diorama Dies. Now you may be asking yourself, what are those exactly? Well, I spied these in the new annual catalog on page 12, and I instantly loved this card. So I always like to make little diorama cards, and I thought this was so cute with the little wildlife on it. With a coral and everything. So I made some cards with these dies. Now, these dies don't coordinate with any one specific set, so you can use them with just about anything you already have. And they're designed for you to create a scene with, so basically like a see-through scene. But I'm going to show you 4 different ways that I used it today. You'll find these dies on page 163. They're right here at the bottom. Let me bring that in here a little bit more so you can see. There's 7 dies all together. It's $29, and they all layer one on top of the other. So I store mine on a magnetic sheet like this, and this is how they look. But I want you to kind of think of these being like circles or squares, because you're going to use them just exactly the same way that you would do any other opening you would cut on a card. So let me show you my samples that I created, and then we're going to make a really fun interactive card together. So let me move that out of the way. And the first one I want to show you, now first of all my samples are using the Pirates and Mermaids stamp set. I just love these little images, and I knew they would make some super fun cards. So my first card features that cute little pirate. And in this one, I actually used the Layering Diorama die to create the island here. So I cut that from soft suede cardstock and just sponged around the edges and a little bit on there to make that look like a sandy little island. So just a really cute little card. A lot of ink blending on this and some sponging, and I'm going to be showing that on another card here soon. Then another one that's really simple. I'm going to try to get the glare off of that, but this is a shaker card, and all I did was use the Layering Diorama die to cut this opening here, and then just created a basic shaker with that, with the little mermaid image on it. So again, anything that you want like an opening on your card, this is perfect for that. And then the final one I have is this little pirate card, and it is a pop-up shadow box card. And if you've been on my channel for any length of time, you know I did one of these with the playful pets not too long ago. I will link to that video because I use the exact same measurements and everything for this card that I did on the little puppy dog card. So it's the same idea, just a different size and style of opening. So you'll definitely want to check that video out if you'd like to make this card. And the final one I have to show you is actually my favorite. So the outside is pretty simple. It just says on the front, it's your birthday. But then when you open it up, take a look at that amazing scene that opens up. So you can see it's very three-dimensional and just really a cute look to it. So it's not nearly as difficult as it looks, but I'm going to show you how I created this. So let's get started. So first you're going to need your paper trimmer. And I, of course, like our Stampin' UP trimmer. And I'm just going to sit that here. Let me bring that off just a bit. There we go. All right. And I'm going to use some Coastal Cabana cardstock. So Coastal Cabana is probably my favorite color for using these under the sea cards. And I'm going to start by putting it in lengthwise. And I'm going to just score that down the middle at 4 1/4. This is going to save me some time in the long run. So I'm scoring that at 4 1/4. And then I'm going to turn it the other way, and I'm going to cut that at 5 1/2. Now most of you that have been making cards for a while realize I just made an A2 size card. I made 2 of those, but we're going to cut these each a little bit differently. So this first one, I'm going to cut just 1/2 inch off of one side. So I'm going to turn that again, and I'm cutting 1/2 inch off. This will be our front and back of the card, and we're just going to set that aside for later. On this other one, I'm going to move my cutting blade out of the way so that I don't mess up. I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to turn it the other way. I've already scored it at 4 1/4, and I want to do at 4 3/4 as well. So I'm going to get that done. So this one has 1/2 inch, 4 1/4 inch, and 4 3/4 inches. And again, it measures 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. We're going to set this one aside. This is our inside mechanism. And then finally, for your inside piece, you want to cut another piece of paper to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I meant to have this one already cut so I could show you exactly what I want to do. But I want it slightly smaller than that. So I'm going to just, if you can look here, you see how the little grooves are in that area? I basically just move it so that it covers that darker part. And then I'm going to cut that little sliver off. So you can see it's just a very small amount. So it's slightly smaller than 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And if you just cover up that track, you'll cut just the right amount off. So with it turned this way, I also want to score it at 1/4 inch on the 2 long sides. So I've got 1/4 inch there, and I flipped it around, and I'm going to do it 1/4 inch on the other side. Okay, so we've got that one ready to go. So all of our cutting and scoring is done. We really don't have to do any more of that. So I'm going to set this aside. So our next step is to use our dies. And so I'm going to use the Layering Diorama dies. Like I said before, there's 7 of these. I found that the 3 larger ones are really big and take up a lot of room on the card. So the ones I've been using the most are the 2 middle ones. So if you count in, the 4th one would be the one that I'm using on this card. And we're going to take the piece of cardstock that we did the 3 score lines on, and we have it just like this. And we're going to position that die on there and run that through our Big Shot machine like this. Okay, so once we have that completed, let me show you what that will look like. I did not put that, I didn't want to do bring the Big Shot out for this video. So after you do that, you're going to have it looking just like this. Okay, hope that you're following along pretty well. Then you have your little piece here, and what you want to do is line your score marks up with this one and that one. Put it right on top of it so that you get those lined up good. And I like to just trace with a pencil on here. So I'm just going to lightly put a pencil mark on here so that I know where that's at. And then once I know where that is, so I know you can't really see great on there. There we go, you can see it now. But I'm going to take that next smallest die and I'm going to put it on there and run that through the Big Shot. And then we get, let's see, I have the magic of television cards over here. Thought I did. If I don't, I'll show it to you. Oh, here we go. All right, so there we go. That's what that looks like. So now we have all of our die cutting done. So again, you're going to have your sheet. This one's slightly smaller, and then you have your cover piece also that we did, okay? So with our cover, I wanted to create a little bit of interest on there. So what I'm going to use is one of our new masks because I think they are so cool. So I went ahead before the video started and I stamped it's your birthday. And we're going to just set that down. I want to put my mask over this. And I'm going to take just a little bit of painter's tape and tape this down so that it doesn't wiggle a whole bunch on me. And when I'm using Coastal Cabana, I generally like to stick with Coastal Cabana on top of it, but I wanted this to be a little bit bolder. So I'm going to start with Bermuda Bay for that. And when I stick with shades of blue, I just use one blending brush. I don't use a bunch of them. So I kind of brush off the excess over here to the side, and then I just want to come over lightly and start blending that ink in. So again, I want to start there at the top and kind of blend that down. Now I know it doesn't look like it's showing a whole lot, but I do think you can see where that's getting a little bit darker, and we're just wanting that to give like a tone on tone. So that is Bermuda Bay on Coastal Cabana. And then I really want it to get a lot darker as it comes down. So I'm going to use Pacific Point also. And Pacific Point's just a really gorgeous dark blue. I mean, it's like a really pretty blue, almost the color of that painter's tape even. So we're gonna blend that down. We're just gonna kind of meet up with that Bermuda Bay that was up there. And you can layer this color on as thick as you like. You don't have to make it super dark, but we're gonna get it a little darker down here at the end, just so that that has a nice look. So I'm gonna finish this part up. And again, if you wanted it darker, just keep going over that. You can definitely get darker colors. Okay. So I'm going to peel that off so you can see what it looks like. And I've got my cute little cover for my card created. Isn't that fun? So I wanted to show you what to do if you don't have a mask, because you can even create your own mask. And that is what I did with the basic borders die. So on the inside of the card, we're going to do some little wave action in here. So I'm going to open this up. So this is how this will open, and this is where I'm going to put my little waves. So I'm just going to start again with that Pacific Point. I'm going to do that down here at the bottom. And I actually meant to do it that way. Whoops. I'm going to turn it this way. Turn it upside down. If you do clouds upside down, they look like waves. So it's just a neat way to get another use out of your dies. Keep kind of going through there. And I want to do a little bit, I'm going to get as much of that Pacific Point ink off, and I'm going to kind of come in here and do some Bermuda Bay now. I just want a little bit of texture to this background. Not a lot, because you're not going to really see a lot of it, but you are going to see some. And we'll do a little bit more. Let me just keep moving that. Okay, so you can see I've kind of got that wave action going there. And I'm going to put my brushes away and my ink pads, because otherwise I will make a mess. And then I loved that those Seascape stamp set. So I used this little coral image, and I stamped it in Versamark and then heat set that with white embossing powder, and I just stamped that into this area right here. So I've already done that too. And then with the Pirates and Mermaids, I went ahead and stamped my greeting on here as well. So magic of television again. I'm gonna find my little card here. And I did have everything close by, I promise. Let's see what happened to her. All right, she's here somewhere. Well, let me put this one out so you can see it. Okay, here's all my pieces, so we're ready. Sorry about that. Okay. Sometimes it just doesn't go the way you planned. All right, so the other things that I did, I stamped and cut out the little mermaid, and I colored her with the Stampin' Blends. I cut out some little fishies, and I cut those out of Whisper White cardstock, and then I just used Stampin' Blends to color that. And then I did some of the coral die cut, and those were from the dies that go with the Seascape. I believe they're called Sea Life dies. So those are all really great, and it coordinates really well with that Pirate and Mermaid, so it's a lot of fun. So you can see here where I've stamped my You're Mermazing. I added my coral to the inside, and we have our outside part of the card too. So we're ready to assemble this. So I have my inside piece, and I have tear and tape on this. I figured tear and tape is probably the easiest one for you to see in the video. Now, this is similar to a card that I saw Jennifer McGuire do, and so I've used a lot of her measurements on it and just really kind of used our products to make this happen. So she's got some other samples that you might want to check out. But we're going to go ahead, I've lined this piece up with that first score line, and we're going to just fold that shut. So we've got our adhesive on that. And then you just want to fold that back over as well. So now that we've got that part done, we want to peel off this backing over here. And let's see if I can get that off easily. Sometimes it wants to work great and sometimes it doesn't. And this one's not wanting to peel. All right, come on. Let's cooperate. There we go. Sometimes you have to start in the middle and push it back down. All right, there we go. And then we're going to push that right down there on top of it, like so. And again, you want to kind of pull those back and forth, okay? Now this piece right here, I'm going to want to go ahead and I'm going to put that inside there. So I'm going to put my adhesive on this part right here. Grab my multi-purpose adhesive, and we're just going to put that in place. I like to use this because I can always kind of wiggle things in place if it's not just right. So we're going to go ahead and add that to right inside here. And you remember this, the back piece of that is the one that we cut that 1/2 inch off. And that's just so this will lay properly. So I'm going to fold it in this way. Okay. And then we want to lay this down. And we're going to peel this piece off again. Or not again, but I'm going to peel that off. I promise every time someone watches me, this is always a little more difficult to do. And then we're just going to close that shut. So that when we open it, it's going to open. And just kind of keep working with that until it holds the way that you want. And then you'll just add your additional pieces. You can put some of them on that inside part there. Your little fishies can go inside, or they can go all the way in there. So it just adds a lot of great little dimension. So I do hope that you'll give this a try. All of these products are available in my Stampin' Up! Online store. I'll have the link for all of the products in the description below. And certainly I would love for you to become a Stamp Doc customer. If you're not ready to become a customer, just subscribe to my video. Just hit that little subscribe key and I'll have more videos for you soon. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful week.